This is the Midwestern movie reviewer for another movie review. I recently saw Babygirl in theaters. I was really excited to see this movie once I saw the trailer. It looked so spicy and just fun, really, like a good girls' night at the movies. And that's what I went with a bunch of girls. And if you've seen the trailer, let's just jump right into the trailer first so you'll know why I was so excited to see this.
Is now a good time to introduce the interns?
Yeah. Hey, how'd you get that dog to calm down?
I gave it a cookie.
You always have cookies on you.
Why, do you want one? So, how did it start?
I see myself as a...
Power-hungry personality?
You think that's what I am?
I think you like to be told what to do. Sorry, I didn't mean to... That was incredibly inappropriate.
Oh.
Get on your knees.
No! What?
Get on your knees now.
I'm...
Is that what you want?
You're very young. I don't want to hurt you.
Hurt me? I think I have power over you.
So you can see, it looks like it was so just interesting, so exciting, sexy, whatever. And yeah, there's a lot of sex in it, but was it sexy? That's the question. A whole lot of the sex in this was cringy. Was cringy AF and gross and kind of, okay, the sounds that Nicole Kidman was making, instead of like really sexy sounds, sound like she was trying to take a dump and it hurt. It was gross. It was gross. There's so much that was wrong with this. But first, let's talk about what the premise was of this. You had, it stars Nicole Kidman. She's about, okay, just so you get the dynamic of this, she's about 57 years old in real life. And she's married to Antonio Banderas. He's probably about the same age. And then the intern that she's really having this sexy relationship with, he's 28. So there's almost a 30-year gap between them. That actor's name is Harris Dickinson, and he was in The Iron Claw recently. And then a few years back, he was in a movie called The King's Man, kind of a James Bondish type movie. He's very good looking and charismatic, as you can see in the trailer. But what is shown in the trailer is a little bit deceptive. We were hoping that this relationship between them would be a little bit more forceful on his end, like he'd be a young man and he's forceful and he's telling her what to do, and he's like she would feel intimidated by him. And really, it seemed like a child that was kind of just guessing and playing around and improving. It didn't seem like he really had that power dynamic down. So that's what was disappointing about this. One thing I loved about this was it reminded me of way back whenever President Clinton had that relationship with Monica Lewinsky. Because at the time I was thinking, why would someone in such a position of power with a family, seems happily married, has a child, jeopardize his position as one of the most powerful men in the world for an intern, to do a sexy relationship with an intern? Didn't make any sense at all to me. And this movie helps to kind of explain why someone would do something like that. Like maybe they've had a dark past and they aren't 100% mentally or emotionally healthy. And this is some kind of an outlet for them that's not proper or healthy or anything, but they can't resist the urge to play up in this. So, that kind of, it stirred that up in my mind, made me think about that. But the things that this movie does have going for it is Nicole Kidman's acting is great. She's very believable. She comes off as powerful as a CEO. has these flaws, another one of these complex characters. So that was interesting that she could be so intelligent, so just driven, and at the same time have these flaws that she could give into and have the potential to hurt her husband. Antonio Banderas' performance was really good. Also, he plays her husband and he plays a director of like plays, maybe on Broadway or something. So he was successful in his own way, more of a creative. And their relationship, it was interesting. The sex between the two of them, oh, it was cringy. It was very cringy. There's a lot of sex in this movie. Rated R. Do not bring your children to this. But if you're an adult and you want to go see something like this, be prepared that there's going to be in your face nudity and sex. Also, Harris Dickinson's performance was very believable, but once again, we wish that he would have been a little bit more calculated and a little bit more commanding, even with his youth, but more of a rough. They tried to seem like he was a rough individual. He could have taken that a little bit further, and it would have been even more interesting and just frightening. The soundtrack to this was so weird. You're either going to love it or hate it because there was some weird sounds. Those soundtracks, like, okay, if you're a fan of Twilight, you know how there's that weird music that's like, oh, aha, 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 aha. Okay, well, this had something, but it was like, oh, 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 oh. It was so weird. My daughter was with me. She loved it. She's grown, so it was okay for me to take her to this. I was like, oh, that sounds unnerving. I don't like that. So I think it's a love-hate type thing. But the rest of the soundtrack was okay. It just had really weird sounds in it. So be aware of that. This film was directed by Helena Rain. She also wrote the script, and it was distributed by A24. So we did like this was somewhat of an original story. Really, it's a flip on Basic Instinct. So they flip the role from a man to a woman and in the position of power to kind of show that, now in today's world, this dynamic can happen with the roles reversed or flipped. That was kind of interesting. Even with that, the Basic Instinct scene that's so famous where the actress is flipping, crossing her legs and everything. There was a scene in this, and you were just like, oh, please let me not see Nicole Kidman down there. I mean, it was just, this movie was not, it was sexy, but we were laughing a big part of the time when I don't think you should have been. I don't know if it was maybe nervous laughing or else it was just funny. And it wasn't meant to be funny. This is a erotic thriller. So no, it's not merely meant to be funny, but we were laughing a good portion of this movie. I don't know. I give it really about a 2 out of 5 because it did have some good acting, but some of the scenes and so much sex, it was a little bit too much. It was in your face and just like, please get it out of my face is basically what you're thinking and saying out loud a good part of the time. So if you're an adult and you love kind of sexy movies, this one's like about an hour and 48 minutes, pretty perfect length, had a good flow to it, but just not spicy enough in a weird way. It was too grossly sexy and not truly sexy. So that's my take on this. Babygirl, a little bit, I gave it a 2 out of 5. Please let me know what you thought and leave a like and comments, please. Midwestern Movie Reviewer out.